Good morning, Kenya. This is my final submission, 27th of June 2024. In Henrik Ibsen's play, An Enemy of the People, Dr. Thomas Stockman used the term colossal stupidity, reflecting his frustration with the collective behavior of the town's people. Stockman discovers that the town's lucrative spa waters are contaminated, posing a severe health risk. However, when he tries to make this public, he faces intense opposition from the town's leaders and citizens, who prioritize economic gain over public health. In relation to a large crowd, possibly who may or may not march to the Nanom Roadstow State House, their decision-making and psychology, colossal stupidity highlights the following aspects. 1. Groupthink. Large groups often fall into groupthink, where the desire for harmony and conformity results in irrational or dysfunctional decision-making. In the play, the townspeople, driven by fear of economic loss, collectively reject Stockman's evidence without critically evaluating it. 2. Mob mentality. When individuals are part of a large crowd, they might engage in behaviors they would typically avoid when acting individually. The anonymity and shared responsibility within a crowd can lead to irrational, emotional, and sometimes aggressive actions. The townspeople in the play turn against Stockman, branding him a traitor for threatening their economic interests. 3. Social pressure and influence. Leaders or influential figures within a group can significantly sway the opinions and actions of the crowd. In An Enemy of the People, the mayor, Stockman's brother, and other town leaders manipulate public opinion against Stockman to protect their interests. 4. Resistance to change. Large groups often resist change, especially when it challenges their beliefs or threatens their stability. The townspeople's refusal to acknowledge the contaminated water problem illustrates their reluctance to accept inconvenient truths that would necessitate costly and disruptive changes. 5. Short-term versus long-term thinking. Crowds often prioritize immediate benefits over long-term welfare. The economic prosperity brought by the spa waters blinds the townspeople to the long-term health implications of ignoring Stockman's findings. Putting into current Gen Z context, when mass actions such as protests or marches devolve into violence, they often exhibit several psychological and social dynamics similar to those described by Dr. Thomas Stockman as colossal stupidity. Of course, it takes a police or people in the crowd, a simple action to spark the subsequent groupthink. We saw how the protesters intensified the mass action and breached Das occupied parliament when some protesters were shot. The police sparked the groupthink, hence the saying, "The IMF doesn't put out fires, it starts them." Barrow, 1998. These dynamics can lead to chaotic and destructive outcomes, such as those witnessed in various global events, including the violent protests and coups. This is why. Group polarization. In a protest or mass action, people with similar grievances come together, which can amplify their emotions and convictions. This group polarization often leads to more extreme positions and actions than individuals might take alone. Individuation. Individuals in large crowds may lose their sense of self and moral accountability. Anonymity and the feeling of being just one among many can lead to behavior they would typically avoid, such as vandalism, looting, or attacking police. The crowd provides a kind of psychological shield, reducing personal responsibility. Emotional contagion. Emotions, especially anger and fear, can spread rapidly through a crowd. When one person acts out, others may follow, creating a chain reaction. This can escalate tensions between protesters and police, leading to violent confrontations and property destruction. Authority dynamics. The presence and actions of police or military can significantly impact the crowd's behavior. Aggressive or heavy-handed tactics by authorities, such as shooting protesters, can inflame the crowd's anger and lead to further violence. Conversely, a lack of adequate response can embolden the crowd, leading to more widespread chaos and even attempts to overthrow existing structures, as seen in coups. Us versus them mentality protests often create a stark division between the crowd and the perceived enemy, AEG, police, sellout MPs, officials. This dichotomy can dehumanize the opposition, making violence against them seem more justifiable. In Sri Lanka, for instance, economic hardship and corruption led to widespread protests that escalated into an assault on government buildings and officials. In Kenya, the role of social media and news coverage can also amplify tensions. But do not be fooled that shutting down social media or internet helps. In such situation, the information flow follows grapevine, and information spread like wildfire, and doesn't originate from any particular source. Instant communication can mobilize more people quickly, spread real or perceived grievances, and even misinform, leading to heightened emotions and reactions. To conclude, this final submission, in the wake of current disposition in Kenya, is neither a post for or against Roadstow State House or a Ruto must go. It is an informative piece, take it like just saying.